was it your understanding that the drugs were coming from Marvin Forest through Joshua Keene? And the 13 grams of crack cocaine that was found on Mr. Corey's person, could it be that though it was one package, it was able to be broken up into smaller packages at a later time? Is it uncommon for someone who's selling drugs to carry the crack cocaine in one large substance before breaking it up for distribution?
Any questions based on that, Mr. Gorich?
Only one. I just want to clarify what information was there prior to the drug arrest surrounding Joshua Andrews that the drugs that he supplied were coming from me.
Fair question.
The CI stated that he purchased the drugs through Mac. He goes by his street name Mac. But there would be different runners.
Any further questions, sir?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Question for you. What denomination were the bills?
I don't have that on here.
Okay.
Mr. Detective Whitten counted it.
All right. See the next witness? Okay. Did you have any information that Mac had stopped between leaving Springfield or wherever he was coming to Keene and conducted additional sales? Did you have any information about how Mac or Mr. Koritz, I guess, would conduct the transactions?
He would have people run his place.
Okay. All right. Anything based on that, Mr. Koritz?
As far as questions,
As far as questions, yeah, for the witness.
I mean, I feel like, in your experience, if somebody is basically, from your description, if somebody is having all these people that are running drugs for them, is the normal amount of money for somebody to be carrying really, isn't $1,100 a small amount of money?
No.
Well, for instance, with the incident with Joshua Andrews, what was the amount of money that he was supposed to make in that one transaction?
You did bring it up. If you recall the amount of money for the sale in that case.
Around, but I don't think it's about $300.
Okay. So, a couple of grams?
More than that.
Okay. So, 3?
About 6 grams.
All right. Anything further from the state?
No.
Okay. Sir, I'm going to allow the state to call its next witness. So, Detective Truman, you may be excused. Thank you.
Yeah, so
Morning, Detective. Why don't you come up here? The microphone's right here for the video. I'll swear you in.
Morning, Aaron.
Good morning. You just want to stand right here? Come up right here. So that you can be seen on the video. Raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
All right. Counsel, you may inquire.
Detective Whitten, please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Detective Andrew Lipcott, last name Lippincoat.
Are you currently employed?
Employed by the Keene Police Department. Bureau Investigations as a detective.
Directing your attention to November 1st of 2017, were you involved with the arrest of Marcus Forrest that day? What was your involvement in that arrest?
I'm involved with that day. I was with Officer Longer on Saturday night. We had notified that Marcus was coming into town. We notified he was in a minivan. Wanted to get pictures of. There were other detectives in the area who notified me that they had seen the vehicle in my direction. Shortly thereafter, I saw the vehicle pass our location heading east. Pulled up behind it, to a safe location. Longer initiated a motor vehicle stop, to which I approached the passenger side and recognized Marcus from the pictures sent over by private relation and parole.
Did you speak with Mr. Forrest?
I did.
Did he confirm his identity for you?
He did. He also spelled his last name wrong.
Do you see Mr. Forrest in the courtroom today?
See him on the video. Okay.
You're going to ask the record to reflect what he said and your response.
It's shown.
Thank you. Was Mr. Forrest arrested at that time on the outstanding warrant?
Yes,
Did you search an incident to arrest?
I did.
What did you find on this person?
In his right front pocket of his jeans, there was a large billfold that I pulled out. As I was pulling it out, Marcus estimated that it was around $900.
Marcus gave you an estimate of how much money it was?
$900.
Did he say where the money would come from?
He did not.
When you say large billfolds, can you describe it to the court, please?
Yes, there was no wallet, there was no money clip. Basically, the money was folded over end to end, just one time. It was rather thick, indicating a lot of bills versus if it was in the hundreds, it would be much thinner. Must have been smaller denominations because it was fairly thick.
Did you count this money at some point?
I did. Later at the PD, I counted the money before logging in the property, which is standard anytime you log money in. It ended up being $130.
Do you recall the denominations when you were counting the bills?
I
Do you recall if there were a lot of hundreds?
don't.
And at some point after the arrest, Mr. Forrest was found to have crack cocaine in his clothing, correct?
That's correct.
Did you make any observations about how much clothing he was wearing at the time you arrested him?
I did. Underneath his jeans, he had jeans on the outside that were visible. Just observing. Once searching him, he also had gym shorts underneath the jeans.
And this was based on when you were looking at it with the Keene Police Department?
This was when I was searching him.
Okay. Mr. Corpse, would you like to ask some questions of this witness, sir?
I guess I have some questions, but I don't know if they're really, you said that it was a rather large billfold,
Correct.
and so wouldn't that, basically what I'm saying, she asked, Ms. Clay did ask you if there was a lot of hundreds, but you had just stated that there probably wouldn't have been a lot of hundreds, right? If it was a large billfold?
If there was hundreds, it wouldn't be a large billfold.
Right. We're talking $1,100, so that would have been 11 bills.
Correct.
That's my only question.
Okay. Anything based on that? All right. Sure. Detective, you may be excused.
Thank you.
That's all the evidence.
Okay. You state rests? Okay. Mr. Corpse, the state has rested its evidence in the forfeiture petition case. It's your opportunity to present any evidence that you wish to, if you'd like. Do you wish to?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes,
Why don't you just raise your right hand? Okay. You swear the testimony you're about to give the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Why don't you begin by stating your full name for the record?
Marcus Corpse, K-O-R-I-T-Z.
Okay. Thank you, sir. What is it you think I should know about the forfeiture petition?
The reason I had put in the request for transport was so you could see with your own eyes, but here I have 5 receipts that I was able to have my fiance locate. I couldn't locate every receipt, but from within the earliest being August 18th of 2017 and the latest being 2nd of 2017, all receipts from performances and showcases that I've done, because I do music, which is documented on anything. They said they had access to my Facebook, so I'm sure that they do that too as well.
What do you mean? What do you mean, sir? What do you mean by do music?
I perform music. I have done shows from Miami all the way to Philadelphia to Massachusetts, Connecticut. It's all documented. These are all documented things. And I work through a company in Enfield, Connecticut, the Stu 860 LLC, which is run by Jonathan Moran. And he helped me locate these receipts, actually. And like the money that I had on me was actually all money from that it was the first of the month I was going to give it to my fiance for the rent. She lives in Brattleboro, Vermont. But my contention is that the state contends in their own case that they had the information that I was coming into Keene, and they stopped me before I got into Keene. And from the way I read the statute, I don't know it word for word, but the thing with the forfeiture of money is that it has to be proceeds from drugs or going to be used to purchase drugs, which actually they're stating that neither of those things was what it was. There was no prior sales that had ever been made against me, even though the state can contend that, or the state does contend that, the sale on September, whatever the day was, with Joshua Andrews, who's my sister's husband's little brother, which is why I was calling him to make sure he was okay, because he had to answer my phone calls, which is not uncommon at all. But they contend that those drugs came from me, which they categorically did not. But my point being that I had no proceeds from money from drug sales on me. I didn't have any money that was going to be used to purchase drugs on me. And that I actually do have a legitimate source of income, and had for the last 9 months been performing opening for big performances like, I don't know the course familiarity with rappers, but Lil Uzi, Dave East, these are Billboard chart-topping artists doing 5,000 people performances, and it's all documented, which was the only reason I filed a response to this, to this whole forfeiture thing, was because I have I've made thousands upon thousands of money, thousands upon thousands of dollars in cash. All these checks were actually made out, all these receipts were actually made out to cash, because that's how you get front door money, which is saying when you go to a club, you perform at the club, and you're paid by the club, you get the money from the club, which is why there were so many different denominations of bills. There was barely any large denomination of bill at all. Actually, I don't know if there was one bill over a $20 bill in that whole billfold, because that was all from front door money at club, I believe, I want to say that was from the club in Connecticut, Ultra Lounge, I believe you can quote me on that, in Danbury, Connecticut, at a performance I opened for Dave East, who was another Billboard chart-topping artist. I feel like the state's contention that money was from drugs is actually lacking in proof, when there had no sales on me, no marked money. They're saying they have sources of information. They have, according to my case, if I remember correctly, one of them had been working as a source of information since July of that year, and another much more recent, mid-October, when I was arrested, and beginning of November. So, but if they had these sorts of information saying, yeah, they're getting drugs from Mac, if that's your source of information, why have they not made some sort of controlled buy or anything against me? I don't understand. And then they say, oh, well, we had a controlled buy, they did a controlled buy, but it was Josh Andrews, so I don't understand how that ties into me. The person saying they get drugs from Mac, but they didn't ever get drugs from Mac. It just, I don't know if that holds water. I don't understand how that can be the state's contention.
Let me ask you some questions. In your motion for transport, you just said you were going to present evidence. I didn't read that as that you had documents. Can you hold them up to the camera so I can take a look at them?
Yes.
And what are, when you say they're receipts, they just cash receipts?
These are cash receipts from payments that I received. There's a CO right
I'm gonna approach the screen so I can see it.
Okay, and
Hold on.
I'll try to give you a better view.
Okay. I can see it fine, Mr. Corey.
That's 2. This is 3. This is 4. And this is 5.
Okay. Have a seat. What is the, are the receipts all for the same amount of money?
No, the lowest amount of money is $200.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? Take out receipt number 1. Tell me how much it's for and the date.
Okay. You're talking about from the furthest away, right?
Whichever one
No,
you
they
want.
have numbers on it. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. They have a number on it.
Okay.
The receipt first number is from August 10th, and it's for $300 received from the Stu 860 LLC for a paid performance fee opening act for Little Uzi Vert from Stu 860 LLC to Marcus Court.
All right. How about the next
Payable in
receipt?
cash.
Mm-hmm. How about the next receipt?
Next receipt, August 18th, 2017, $350 received from the Stu 860 LLC, paid performance for Playboy Party from Stu 860 LLC to Marcus Courts. These are all signed by Jonathan Moran, by the way, who is the owner of that business.
Okay, number 3.
October 11th, the amount of $200. It just says for Performance Act from the Stu 860 to Marcus Courts, which was actually an event they put on. So this was not an opening, I was featuring this.
Okay. Number 4.
Number 4, September 17th, the amount of $200 from the Stu 860 LCC.
$200, you said?
The amount of $200.
Okay.
Another Performance Act from Stu 860 LLC to Marcus Courts.
Okay. Number 5.
Number 5, September 22nd, 2017, the amount of $250, paid performance fee, opening act for Davies from Stu 860 LLC to Marcus Courts.
I'm sorry, I was writing and I had to correct something. So that was September 22nd, and what was the amount?
September 22nd, 2017, paid performance fee, opening act for Davies from Stu 860 LLC to Marcus Courts.
And the amount on that one was $250?
The amount of $250.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anything further, sir?
There, you know, at the studio that I work with, which is this studio, I've done some engineering work, and which is, I don't know how familiar you are with music. That's basically the recording of other artists and the mixing and mastering of tracks and such. And you get paid in cash for that, so there is no receipts. But I mean, I would be willing to, if there was any other date that wanted to be set, I'd be willing to get an affidavit from John Moran, because he keeps the records on all that, so I'm sure he would have an actual number. But I would say within those same 2 months from when these shows started to when I was arrested, I've had to roast at least $1,500 to $2,000 just mixing and mastering tracks. Like I said, all this stuff, like the state had contended in my criminal case that they had access to my Facebook, and that's where they went and saw my name and such. So if that was the case, then they also should know there's well documented videos and everything else. So I just wanted to present that because I felt like it was being misconstrued as if I was walking around with a pocket full of drug money, when in fact that was money from a legitimate business that I have been in for the last few years since I got out of prison in Vermont.
Anything further, sir? The state's going to be able to ask you some questions now.
Okay, Your Honor.
All right, you're still under oath. Counsel,
Yes,
can
sir.
I inquire?
Thank you. Mr. Quarles, you just said that in your criminal case, you felt it was misconstrued that you were rolling around with a bunch of drug money in your pocket,
Yes, ma'am.
but you were rolling around with drugs on your person, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you ended up pleading guilty to that charge, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that charge was possession of controlled drug with the intent to dispense it, meaning you were planning to sell it, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so that was your intent, was to sell those drugs, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
In what quantity do you typically sell crack cocaine?
And the quantities of, like your detective stated, I have half gram or gram quantity.
So the over 13 grams of crack cocaine that you had on your person, you were going to break up and sell to other people, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
How often were you selling drugs to customers in New Hampshire in the fall of 2017?
In fall of 2017. To be honest, not that often because I was busy with the music stuff, to be honest with you.
But on November 1st of 2017, you were in New Hampshire with 13 grams of crack cocaine to sell in this state, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you apply for a public defender in your criminal case?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I be able to see that affidavit to question you about it.
I'm not sure if I applied, I'm not sure if I applied or if one was just appointed to me. I was given a public defender, but I do not actually, I cannot recall filling out any paperwork, which I know I've done in other states when I've gotten in trouble, but I do not recall doing that here.
And Mr. Cordes is correct. He did not fill out an affidavit. This was a felony first arrest, so counsel was just appointed to represent him on that day.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Cordes, you said you've applied for a public defender in other criminal cases
Yes, ma'am.
And-
Well, one other criminal case, yes, ma'am.
where you had to at least fill out, or rather you did fill out an application in that case,
Yes, ma'am.
and you were assigned a public defender based on that application?
Yes, ma'am.
You said that you were driving the money to Brattleboro, Vermont to give the money to your fiance for rent, correct?
Yeah, well, I wasn't driving it to Brattleboro, Vermont. I was going to go to Brattleboro, Vermont. Yes, ma'am.
How much is rent?
Her rent is $850
And that's due on the beginning part of every month?
on the first, yes, ma'am.
So the $1,300 that you presented receipts for, that money, some of that money already went to rent, correct?
No, ma'am.
So when
I hadn't given her the money yet.
Mr. Cordes, you received $300 on August 10th of 2017,
Yes, ma'am.
and between August 10th and November 1st of 2017, there would have been at least 2 rent payments due, correct?
Yes, ma'am. I did not live with my fiance, and she just needed rent money that month. She had a job prior to that.
It's non-responsive.
Just answer the question, sir. You didn't give the money to her prior to that point?
So the answer to your question is no.
Thank you. Did you have to pay your own rent in August of 2017?
No, ma'am.
You had a phone on you, correct, Mr. Cordes?
Yes, ma'am.
What's the monthly bill for your phone?
I would say, I think it's $55 a month.
What other expenses did you have in the fall of 2017?
Daily food expenses, maybe.
When did you move in with your fiance?
We didn't live together. We weren't living together.
How often had you been giving her money for rent?
That was going to be the first time in a few months. I had before previously, but not in the fall of 2017.
Do you have receipts to show that you had been giving her money for rent in the past? Any documentation to show that that's where your money is going?
No, I haven't taken any receipts from my fiance when I give her money.
And you were always giving her cash for rent,
Yes, ma'am. I've always been paid in cash.
but you hadn't been doing so for the previous months in the fall prior to November 1st of 2017.
No, ma'am, I had not.
Where were you living at that time?
I was living in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Who were you living with?
I was living with my older sister and Joshua Andrews' older brother, Tyrant Andrews. They're married.
And you weren't paying them any kind of rent?
No, ma'am.
Were you helping with the cable bill, either at the Springfield house? Or
I used to help with various bills. I think every other month I would pay their cell phone bill as well.
and
So
how
another
much?
$55.
Another $55?
Yes,
Is that for each of their cell phones, or did they have a combined?
They have one cell phone.
And did this include in the fall of 2017?
Yes, ma'am.
So in addition to your expenses, you were also helping with the expenses in Springfield, Mass?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you also helping your fiance with some expenses other than rent?
Prior to then, no, I had not been. She was 6 months pregnant, so she had just stopped working a few weeks before that.
And were you making any purchases in the fall of 2017? Like
Honestly,
clothing?
I was gonna say, like, a lot of my clothing was given to me for free to wear, to clothes and such, so not very many, no. Maybe underwear and socks, t-shirts.
But you were making those purchases in fall of 2017?
Yes, ma'am.
Had you been able to finish your plan of selling the 13 grams of crack cocaine, how much money would you have made?
I can't give an exact amount, maybe $800.
And the crack cocaine that was found on you, you hid it pretty well, hoping it would go undetected, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Quaritch, anything further you wish to say?
No, I mean, she's questioning me about the crack cocaine, but I understand I've already pleaded guilty. I'm in the New Hampshire State Prison right now for that charge with the
understand
intent,
that. Yeah, I
with the
understand.
intent to dispense. But my whole point on that thing is you're prodding about the crack cocaine, but the more valid point when we're talking about the money, I believe, in my humble opinion, is the fact that there was no prior, the state has proved no prior drug transactions that were made by me, or no prior drug activity that they can say, oh, this is that money, there's no marked bills, you understand? So I feel like, yes, I've already accepted guilt and am now serving a prison sentence for that crack cocaine, but that does not disqualify me from being entitled to money that I earned in other ways. It's just, it's not the same thing.
Okay. Counsel, you wish to wrap up?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. As you're aware, Your Honor, all monies found in proximity to controlled substances is presumed to be forfeitable, and the complainant of the property shall bear the burden of rebutting this presumption. In this case, the crack cocaine and the money were both found on Mr. Fort's person. He admits that he had the intent to sell that. He pled guilty to possession with the intent to dispense it, and the money was proportional to the amount of crack cocaine that he had on him.
Why is that significant, though?
I
I mean, why, hold on, Mr. Quaritch, why is that significant? That he just happens to have $1,300 of cash and $1,300 worth of crack cocaine? What's the nexus between that and the, whether or not it's related to proceeds from drug trafficking?
I think, Your Honor, if he had 3 times the amount of crack cocaine on him as he did the $1,300, or the proportional amount, it would suggest that perhaps he did have some other source of funds in addition to drug money. But this seems proportional, as if he's already done the transactions and now he's coming up here to do more transactions.
Okay, I understand.
And there's one other thing, I'm sorry, Your Honor. Mr. Quartz has presented to the court today that he has receipts from August to October totaling $1,300. And while we don't have a clear accounting of all of his monthly bills, there are things that he would have been paying that would have brought that $1,300 down below the $1,130. I think that it's significant that all of Mr. Quartz has presented are cash receipts from the time several were from a couple of months prior to the November 1st seizure. But he admits that he has expenses as well. He hasn't met his burden to show that these truly were legitimate funds.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. It's a legal question that I'm going to have to look into, but maybe you know the answer. It has to do with substitute assets. Is New Hampshire a substitute asset state in forfeiture proceedings? I don't know the answer to that. I know the First Circuit federally is not a substitute asset circuit. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled on the issue. So essentially, if there's evidence of, suppose he has lawful employment and unlawful employment, and he pools the money together and uses some of the money to pay bills, some of the money to do other things, substitute asset would say, doesn't matter if this money was pooled with other tainted money, then it's substituted so that you could take it in a forfeiture proceeding. So that's what I'm curious about, because if it's substitute, then it's an easier case for the state. If it's not, then you have to prove that it is, he hasn't rebutted the presumption because of his proximity. So I was just curious. You don't know?
I don't
know the answer either.
And I can certainly memo on that.
I don't think it's necessary. I'll look into it. Okay. Mr. Quartz, you understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah,
It's a legal issue.
I believe I understand what you're saying, Your Honor,
Okay.
yes.
All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this matter under advisement. I took notes on your receipts and your evidence, sir. I'll issue an order in this. You'll both get copies of it in the mail in the next week or so with my decision. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you both. This matter is
Thank you for your
concluded.
time.
Thank you. Sure. Is she the only one that showed up for this report? What's the name? Okay. Do we have counsel here for the subpoena, interstate subpoena? How about any of the opponents? Ms. Rollins, are you here? We're taking up the show cause hearing for failing to appear as a juror. Ms. Rollins. Why don't you come on up? Hello, Ms. Rollins. How are you today? I'm sorry? Okay, I'm going to actually have you come a little closer so I can hear you, okay? All right. You're here because you had jury service, which was deferred, and then on the new deferral letter, at the time when you were supposed to come, you didn't show up, and we were able to track down where you are in Troy. So what happened? What happened? How come you didn't show up for jury service? Okay. So what's your current address? Now we have 176 Bigelow Hill Road, Troy, New Hampshire. Okay. How long have you been there? A year. Okay. Do you get mail at that address too? Okay. Okay. All right, do you have a job, ma'am? Okay. Where do you work? Oh, that's a little bit. Okay. Did you have to take off work to come here today? You work third shift, so middle of the night? Okay. Well, jury service is an obligation. We're gonna send you another notice for you to serve. And if there's an issue, you can always request an excusal or deferral if it's inconvenient. Do you have access to a computer? Because almost everything's done online. Just your phone? Okay. All right, Ms. Rollins. Tell me your address again. Slowly, I write slowly, okay. Yeah. Jaffrey Road? What's the zip code? Don't know? Okay, you've lived there for about a year? Are you gonna be living there for a while? Okay. Is there an apartment number or anything, or is it a house? It's a house? Okay. Who lives at the 176 Bigelow Bill Road? Your parents do. How old are you? 38. All right. So what's going to happen is the clerk, I've updated your address. The clerk's going to send a new notice for you to serve. It'll probably be sometime in the fall. Okay? So it'll give you a couple of months to kind of fill out the application, fill out the form and stuff like that, so you can prepare for it. You understand? Okay? And when you're ordered to appear, unless you're excused by me, which will be over your phone, they have email address, you'll get emails and stuff like that. If you ask for an excusal or deferral, that's how we let you know is by email. So you're gonna have to fill out all that information when you get the summons, okay? All right, any questions? All right, thank you, you're discharged, and you'll get something in the mail. All right, thank you. Did either of them ever appear? They're Collinses or Rollinses? Their husband and wife appears. Oh, Clark. Donald Clark and Christine Clark. Does someone want to call Attorney Rogers, who submitted the request? Have a seat, counsel. I'm sorry. Good morning, Ms. Hebert. Let me just finish filling out this order for the juror. Okay, we're here in the matter of State of New Hampshire versus Angela Hebert. Hello, Ms. Hebert. We've had a few hearings, and you didn't make the last couple of them. We're here because there was the state's filed a motion to impose the sentence. There's a review hearing scheduled for April. I think we gave folks a chance to try and find you because I know you were homeless for a while. Where are we, counsel?
I have a proposed agreement and a motion for Cedar was.
I'm sorry. The door closing drowned you out.
I have a proposed agreement and then a motion for funds as well. Ms. Hebert,
There's an evaluation.
Right. Ms. Hebert had been staying at 100 nights, then the shelter closes.
I remember.
She was then camping. She lost pretty much everything she owned, somebody destroyed her stuff. She was just left an abusive relationship. She's now staying at 7 Central Street. She's going to be there probably for the first of June. And then the person who was there is Robert Doyle, and he's going to be getting a different apartment on Washington Street. She's going to be living with him, at least that's the plan for the foreseeable future. He has a TBI, and she kind of helps him out in daily activities. So she does have a place to live. I do have a motion for funds for CIA.
For an assessment?
She has 2 assessments that she needs to do, the LAAC eval and
Right. You want to approach? How long has she been in jail?
the weekend.
The weekend? Okay. Okay, State, anything to add to this?
No, Your Honor, I think it'd be appropriate to give it a fund so that we could get this assessment and evaluation
Okay.
completed.
Is the court able to schedule a date now? I can write it on a card and give it to Ms. Hebert.
The scheduler just walked out. Let me write slowly. When she gets back, we'll make sure she leaves with the court date so she knows when to be back here.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion for funds is granted. I've also filled out and endorsed the form you'll need to submit. The agreement is approved. I'm assuming she's released for the 2-month period. Yeah, okay. Do you have the address on Washington Street
I don't yet.
where Mr. Doyle and she are going to be living?
The only address I have right now is the 7 Center Street. She knows that it's going to move, but she doesn't know the new address.
All right. Any objection to me? I'm issuing an order saying that she be released, but also ordering that she keep the court advised of any address.
No objection from my side.
She's nodding yes vigorously, so.
She did turn herself in
Oh, she did?
to the court on Friday. She came here and then the police came and then brought her to
Oh,
the
okay. I didn't know that. We'll pick a hearing date. Pick a date I know I'm gonna be here. 2 months, you said?
I think that's enough time.
60 days? So it'll be in July. Well, July 31st is a Tuesday, which is drug court day.
In the afternoon or morning?
Why don't we do, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, after drug court.
Thank you.
So I'm going to read your order before you disappear, Ms. Hebert. Hold on. Okay, Ms. Hebert is to be released. Ms. Hebert must advise the court of her new address on June 2nd, 2018. So you have a new address on the 1st. The 2nd, you're going to be at the clerk's office telling him where you're living and what the address is. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The review hearing is going to be held at 2 p.m. on July 31st, 2018. Okay, you're going to have you have that 2-month window to get your 2 assessments that I just authorized payment for, and we'll see where we're at that point. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, so when do you have to be back in court? When's the next time you're going to be back in court? What?
Oh, June 2nd.
June 2nd. Okay, June 2nd to let us know where your address is.
Yeah.
And then when's the next day?
The 31st.
July 31st, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you, Ms. Hebert. Good luck to you. Thank you. State versus Anthony Wilson. Mike, we'll do Mr. Wilson next. Okay, we're in the matter of State of New Hampshire versus Anthony Wilson. Sir, we're here because the grand jury indicted you for with 2 counts of aggravated felonious sexual assault. Counsel, have you received copies of the indictments?
I have, Your Honor. I've also reviewed them with Anthony. We would waive formal reading and ask the court to render the not guilty to both charges at this time.
Okay, I will do that. These were direct indictments, and there was a hearing arraignment scheduled back in January, at which Mr. Wilson didn't appear, so there was a warrant issued, and here we are today. I'm going to enter pleas not guilty on your behalf, sir. Is there an agreement or disagreement on bail?
Agreement on bail.
Okay.
The defense is not contesting the state's proposed bail at this time, Your Honor. We reserve the right to argue bail at a later time. At present, Mr. Wilson doesn't have a place to live, but his mother is moving for an apartment where they both could reside. If and when she does get an apartment, we would ask to be able to have a bail hearing.
Of course, if there's a change of circumstances that affect bail factors, I'll hear what you have to say. Stay. He's on probation.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wilson's criminal history consists of a conviction from December 4th of 2017 for a sexual assault, essentially involved a consensual act. The victim was 15, he was 18 at the time.
Was that in this court or is it downstairs?
Downstairs.
Okay.
So he received a mostly suspended sentence and 2 years of probation, a requirement that he get a sexual violation done.
Is that related to this offense at all?
It is not. I mean, they all 3 offenses kind of occurred around the same time.
Okay.
But they're not related.
Okay.
The downstairs is not the victim in this particular.
Okay.
So he's put on probation and then went missing essentially from probation. So it was a pending violation of probation downstairs.
I see.
Went missing from probation almost immediately after that sentencing, and has been on the missing since.
Was that that's one of the exceptions to the reporting requirement?
It is.
It is,
He's
right.
not in violation of the duty report statute.
Because he has none, correct?
Correct.
Because it's that Romeo and Juliet law?
Exactly.
Right, okay. Okay. Bail is set at the $5,000 cash only as requested by the state. Defendant is ordered to have no contact to direct or indirect with SN, whose date of birth is 12/15/1980. He's to live at an address approved by probation. Abide by probation parole rules and regulations. Can't travel outside of New Hampshire. must execute a waiver of extradition, can't possess a firearm, destructive device, dangerous weapon, can't use alcohol or controlled drugs as defined by New Hampshire law. Report, abide by the curfew as set by probation officer. And those are the orders. And if there's a change of circumstances, as the defense is requested, we'll review bail at that time. Thank you.
I spoke with they realized that the people, Mr. Clark and Ms. Clark, residents in Keene really thought that this could take out the court stuff. I don't know what's going on here. And I have called the cases of Enrique Nato, Enrique Scott Pond, as well as Eliza Reed and no response.
Okay. So I guess the next step is we issue warrants for jurors failing to appear. They were all served. There are all receipts in here for certified mail for today's hearing. For all three of those jurors.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Ms. Dingwell, at least, individual, contacted the court this morning to say that she was at the retreat.
Okay. Well, the signatures on the receipts for Ms. Neto and Mr. LaFond do not appear to be the signatures of the jurors.
It appears that somebody else has signed with it now.
Yeah, that's what it appears to be. So what I'll do is I'll issue warrants, but I'll have to set some type of either very low cash bail, like $100 or $50, or a PR bond with a requirement that they report to court within 24 hours of the arrest.
We have
I hate to do that to the sheriff's office, but without their signatures, knowing, absolutely knowing, I'm not comfortable with setting a no bail warrant. It's probably on the juror questionnaires. I don't think we have all the tattoos and hair color and eye color and all that stuff, but I think we just need their name and date of birth. That's the way it used to be.
So do I fill out those forms, you sign them?
Yeah, no, the jury clerk does. She's back there. I'll issue an order on, this woman, Miss Dingwell, is at the retreat. So I'm going to defer her, jury deferred for 6 months.
And I don't know what you want to do with these files. No one's coming to see us. No one's coming to our party.
It's too nice.
I know, we should.
Reading weekend, Sunday, Monday.
No drugs. I worked outside and it was really good.
Can we have them just send a notice saying that this is withdrawn? I mean, that's